Seneca was one of the richest men in the Roman Empire. He owned estates, vineyards, ivory tables, and a personal fortune estimated by ancient sources at around 300 million sesterces. And yet, several days every month, he deliberately dressed in rough cloth, slept on a plank, and ate the kind of bread you'd throw to a dog. Why would a man with that much money rehearse being broke? The answer is in letter 18 of his Epistulae Morales, written to his friend Lucilius Jr., the procurator of Sicily. The letter is dated to around 63 or 64 AD, near the end of Seneca's life, when Nero's favor was already curdling into suspicion. And in it, Seneca gives Lucilius a strange piece of homework. Set aside a certain number of days, he writes, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? That last line is the whole game. Is this the condition that I feared? Because here's what Seneca understood about your mind. The thing you dread is almost never the thing itself. It's the imagined version of the thing, inflated by anticipation, blown up by the dark. The poverty you fear in your head is monstrous. The actual experience of one cold night on a hard pallet is just a cold night on a hard pallet, uncomfortable, survivable, strangely clarifying. Seneca called this practice Meditatio Malorum, the rehearsal of evils, and he didn't invent it. He inherited it from the older Stoics, from Zeno and Chrysippus, and from the Cynics before them, men like Diogenes, who slept in a clay jar in the Athenian marketplace on purpose. But Seneca, the rich man, the political insider, the tutor of an emperor, sharpened it into something a working Roman could actually use. Here's the part most people miss. Seneca isn't telling Lucilius to become poor. He's telling him to visit poverty. The whole point is that you go back. You return to your villa, your wine, your warm bath. But you return with a piece of information you didn't have before. You know, in your body, that the floor isn't as far down as your fear said it was. If this is already rearranging something in how you think about loss, subscribe. There's a lot more of this coming. Now think about who Seneca was writing this to. Lucilius wasn't some young student. He was a senior Roman official, a man with money, position, and exposure. The kind of man who, under Nero, could lose everything in a single afternoon. A whispered accusation, a forged letter, a summons. Seneca knew this terrain intimately because he was walking it himself. He had already been exiled once to Corsica, under Claudius, in 41 AD, 8 years on a rock in the Mediterranean. He knew what it felt like to lose the city, the Senate, the dinners, the books, and he had learned something there that he wanted Lucilius to learn before the loss came, not after. In the same letter, he writes, "It is in times of security that the spirit should be preparing itself for difficult times. While fortune bestows favors on it, then is the time for it to be strengthened against her rebuffs." Read that again. While fortune bestows favors on it, not when the crisis hits, not when the diagnosis comes, not when the job ends or the marriage cracks. Now, while things are still good, that is when you train. Because the brutal truth is, you cannot learn to swim during the shipwreck. So what does the practice actually look like, stripped of the toga? Seneca is very concrete. Pick a stretch of days, 3, 4, however many. During that time, eat the cheapest food available. He specifies the kind of bread that slaves were given, hard and coarse. Wear the roughest clothes you own. Sleep on something hard, and critically, while you are doing it, say to yourself the line, "Is this the condition that I feared?" That sentence is the entire psychological mechanism. It collapses the gap between dread and reality. It forces your nervous system to file poverty under known, survived, instead of unknown, catastrophic. And here's a strange bit nobody expects. Seneca insists this practice doesn't make you miserable. It makes you free. Because once you've tasted the bottom and found it bearable, the grip that wealth has on you loosens. You stop being owned by the things you own. You start enjoying them instead of guarding them. He puts it like this in the letter. The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive. Take away their power when they arrive. That's the whole sentence you need to tattoo somewhere in your mind. Now, Seneca isn't alone in this. Marcus Aurelius, writing his meditations in a military tent on the Danube frontier more than a century later, runs the same drill, just internally. Book 2 opens with him rehearsing before he even gets out of bed all the difficult people he will meet that day. The ungrateful, the arrogant, the dishonest, the envious. He's inoculating himself. By the time the senator, with the smug face, actually shows up, Marcus has already met him in his head and decided not to be moved. Epictetus, the freed slave who taught philosophy in Nicopolis, taught the same principle in the Discourses. When you kiss your child goodnight, he says, remind yourself that this is a mortal child, not to ruin the moment, to inhabit it, to love it without the lie of permanence underneath. 3 different Stoics, 3 different lives, a senator, an emperor, a freedman. Same operating system. And the operating system says this: your suffering is mostly anticipation. Strip the anticipation, and most of the suffering goes with it. So how do you actually run letter 18 in your own life? Without cosplaying as a Roman, start small. Pick 2 or 3 days this month. On those days, eat the cheapest food you can find. Plain rice, beans, bread and water. Wear your worst clothes. Skip the coffee, the streaming, the conveniences you'd swear you couldn't live without. Sleep on the floor one night if you can stand it. And while you do it, ask the question, is this the condition I feared? You will discover something inconvenient. You're tougher than your anxiety told you. The thing you've been quietly arranging your entire life to avoid is in fact just a slightly uncomfortable Tuesday. Seneca pushes it even further in the letter. He says you should not only do this, but do it cheerfully. Not as punishment, not as guilt, as training. The way a soldier marches in peacetime so he doesn't collapse in war. Practice poverty when you don't have to, he writes, so that you never have to fear it when you do. And here is where the philosophy turns dangerous in the best way. Because the man afraid of losing everything will do almost anything to keep it. He'll lie, he'll flatter, he'll betray, he'll stay in the rotten marriage, the rotten job, the rotten regime. Fear of loss is the lever every tyrant in history has pulled. Nero pulled it, and in 65 AD, just a year or two after letter 18 was written, Nero pulled it on Seneca himself, accusing him in the Pisonian conspiracy and ordering him to die. Tacitus tells us how Seneca went out calmly. He opened his veins, he spoke with his friends, he dictated final words to his scribes. He had, in a real sense, been rehearsing that afternoon for decades. The pallet, the coarse bread, the cold night, all of it was preparation for the one loss none of us escapes. That is what letter 18 is actually about. Not money, not minimalism, mortality. Seneca is teaching Lucilius, and through him teaching you, that the practice of small voluntary losses is how you build the spine to face the final involuntary one. So ask yourself, honestly, what are you arranging your life around avoiding? What discomfort have you decided, without ever testing it, would be unbearable? The empty bank account, the lonely evening, the bad opinion of a person you don't even respect, the cold floor. Go visit it, on purpose, for 3 days, and come back and tell yourself the line. Is this the condition that I feared? Because the moment you can answer no, a quiet door opens inside you that money cannot buy and Nero cannot close. If this hit, like the video and subscribe. The next one is on the rule Marcus Aurelius never broke, and you're going to want it.